Radio Epic 2 Dream Machine.
Let's go! Ha! Just what I needed! Ha! 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 Just what I needed! Bravo! Ha! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed! Just what I needed! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Ha! Ha! Just what I needed! Lucky! Just what I needed! Just what I needed! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Lucky! Just what I needed! Just what I needed! Bravo! Ha! Lucky! Woohoo! Let's go! needed. Lucky. Bravo. Woohoo! Let's go! Ha! Just what I needed. Bravo! Ha! Woohoo! Let's go! Lucky! Just what I needed. Ha! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed. Gotcha! Just what I needed. Lucky! Ha! Ha! Just what I needed. Ha! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Gotcha! Just what I needed. Just what I needed. Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed. Lucky! I needed. Lucky! Lucky! Woohoo! Let's go! Lucky! Just what I needed! Ha! Ha! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed! Lucky! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed! Bravo! Just what I needed. Woohoo! Let's go! Ha! Just what I needed. Ha! Lucky! Bravo! Woohoo! Let's go! Just what I needed. Lucky! Bravo! Let's go! Thank you! Just what I needed! Thank you! Bravo! Thank you! needed. Just what I needed.